What's going on, everyone? Data Report here for datareport.info. Today we are going to talk about a study that was released yesterday. You may have already seen this study. That's fine. I want to give my take on it. And here's a headline from CBS News. Why some parents lied about their children's COVID status. And it says, quote, I wanted my child's life to feel normal. Well, by now, since the pandemic began back in 2020, we have all seen the various different excuses with kids and COVID. In the beginning, we were told children can't get COVID, but at the same time, we were also told, oh, children should avoid seeing their grandparents or people who are at high risk because, hey, they could give them COVID. At the same time, they're saying children can't get COVID. Then we started seeing COVID in kids increase later in 2020. Then came the Delta variant in 2021, and it increased even more. Then along came Omicron, which formed in November of 2021 and exploded in December through January of from December of 2021 into January of 2022. Well, during that period, over 1,700 U.S. adults were sampled in a study during that period across the country, including 580 parents who had children younger than 18 years old living with them throughout the pandemic. It is important to note 70% of the respondents were women and all participants were recruited online. A quarter of the parents reported misrepresentation and non-adherence to COVID-19 recommendations in at least one of 7 related behaviors which pertain to exposure, quarantine, vaccine, and testing. Let's go over to the actual study. I want you to see this. 150 participants, 25.9%, that's right here, reported misrepresentation and or non-adherence in at least 1 out of 7 behaviors. The most common behaviors were not telling someone who was with their child that they thought or knew their child had COVID-19 and allowing their child to break quarantine rules. The most common reasoning was wanting to exercise personal freedom as a parent. Additional reasons included wanting their child's life to feel normal and not being able to miss work or other responsibilities to stay home. Alright, I got multiple issues with this. First off, this could also lead up to something I hear quite often. It is normal for a child to get sick. Getting sick builds up the child's immune system. No, COVID does not build up the child's immune system. We have seen countless studies and examples where COVID can destroy the immune system and actually cause autoimmune dysfunction and disease, which can lead to even more sickness, which is just a whole can of worms that you really do not want to open with your child, or even as you as an adult. The next problem is parents are essentially sending their kids to school sick in many different ways. One, they're not testing because they're afraid, well, if I test my child and he turns a positive, he'll have to miss school, then I'll have to miss a day of work. Yes, it's true, you'd have to miss a day of work, and I get it. In some situations, there are jobs out there that are not allowing you to, where the employers are not allowing you to stay home because someone in the family is sick or you are sick and you have to go to work, or financial reasons, or whatever the case may be. But if you have the opportunity to stay home because your child is sick, by all means use it. Do not lie and say, oh, well, I'm just going to send him to school sick anyhow. It's part of the normal childhood. That's how it was when I was a child. I went to school sick, blah, 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 blah. No, it doesn't work that way. Then you also have the parents that do test their child with the at-home test, but they still continue to take them to school, or they continue to send them out in the public. And you know what? There's some that don't even test, and they send them out in the public. They take them with them to the grocery store. Even you as an adult, if you're sick with anything, you stay home. If you can afford it, you do delivery. You get their groceries delivered during that period until you're feeling better again. So please, test your child. You do not send your child to school sick. If you have no one that if you're in a situation where it's really hard and you have to go to work, see if you can't find someone else. Of course, with precautions, you have to mask, you have to have an air purifier of sorts. See if you can find someone else to watch the child during that period. Sending kids to school sick is just wrong. I mean, there is a huge staffing shortage across the country right now in education, partly because of the reasoning being teachers do not want to deal with sick kids anymore. Teachers don't want to deal with the risks of COVID, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, teachers have always dealt with different illnesses before COVID came around. I mean, teachers constantly get sick, but you know what? They're not being paid enough, and COVID was really the final straw. As is, they have to deal with the behaviors of kids nowadays. I mean, it's not easy being a teacher. You factor in the risk of COVID, and a lot of them are just saying enough is enough. So please, if your child's sick, keep them home. There's also something else I want to bring up to your attention, because believe it or not, this is going to sound crazy, I've seen it happen. If you have a sick person or a sick child in the household and you're scheduled to have a party, family gathering, or something going on where you have people coming to your house, you don't just lock the person up in a room and say, oh, they're locked up in a room, they'll be fine, the party can go on as planned, or you just have it without telling them that you have someone sick upstairs. No, you don't do that. It leads to more cases. It infects other people. It puts other people at risk, just as it does sending your child to school sick. Because when you're sending someone sick out into the public, you risk infecting other people. Like in the example of school, other students get sick, and then they take it home to their family, and maybe there's someone who's high risk in the family. Maybe one of the students has asthma. You don't know. And then they get sick. And say the high risk person gets hospitalized and then passes away. All because you neglected to keep your child home while your child was sick. And quite frankly, this is going to sound really bad. If someone should die because you did not do the right thing and keep your infected individual home, if someone should die, that's technically, I would consider that to be a murder of some sort, because you're basically mass infecting other people and putting other people's life at risk, and that's not a good thing. We're supposed to love, teach, and respect the children. And one of the things we can teach children is do the right thing. If you are sick, stay home. Both children stay home and adults stay home. You don't go out into the public with your germs, spreading it around to other people. And if you must go out, please wear a high quality mask when you do so. Alrighty, I think this was a little educational and formal to you. I hope this reached the people out there that take part in this risky behavior, because we really need a change for the better. I mean, enough is enough. Alrighty, thanks for watching this video, and if you like the content that I do on my channel, hit the thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel and you'll know when I do my next video. Until next time, thanks for watching. Stay safe, everyone.